You're listening to the Woman Angler and Adventure podcast, part of the Waypoint Outdoor Collective.
And to see women with these huge boats and fishing that way, you know, and a crew of women is, I mean, it gave me, I've got chills right now because I don't see that very often, you know. Yeah.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, Angie Scott and Barb Carey.
Welcome to another episode of the Woman Angler and Adventure. And boy, you know, we spent some time in Florida. Okay, we're here right now. I'll confess, you're not going to hear it right away, but we are here now. Angie and I still under the same roof.
Yep.
And we are running into the most interesting women ever. And we're so happy to have them as guests. Two for one right now. Our first guest here, Dena Vick. And I haven't known you, but I've known of you for a long, long time because you're this media icon in the fishing industry. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And our other guest is Rose Koza, who is this recent high school graduate fishing superstar who's got a college scholarship, all sorts of sponsors, including St. McCoy Rods. Going to jump into the fishing world and take it by storm. Thank you, Lee, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, we're here at iCast. It's unbelievable. And where do you start? You know, it's kind of overwhelming. And, you know, a lot of the people that listen to our show are interested either in fishing as a recreation hobby, tournament fishing, or a career in fishing. And I think no one can speak better than that than you.
Maybe. No.
Maybe.
Thank you.
So you own Traditions Media.
No. I work for Traditions Media.
You work for Traditions
yes.
Media.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like one of the most active people, not only professionally, but as an angler yourself. Is that correct? Did I just see you won a tournament or something?
Yes, we did in Costa Rica.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So I am on board with a lot of tournaments, but I've never actually fished in a tournament in my life. And a friend of mine that owns Tres Niños Tours in Jaco, Costa Rica, told us about this tournament that Pelagic was putting on. And it was a rooster fish tournament, and I had finally caught my first rooster fish. Ooh. I call it the unicorn of the sea. I never thought I would ever catch that thing. And so he called and said, hey, if you're going to be down here, why don't we fish in this tournament? So Ray Marine helped us, and we went out there. And so they had the rooster fish tournament, but they also had an inshore slam. Oh. And that's what we actually won. So I caught I think it was close to 30-pound Cubera snapper, wow, which kind of threw us over the edge. And then we had caught a wahoo on light tackle that just for fun, because in a rooster fish tournament, it's all catch, photo, release in Costa Rica. And so you really, other than the inshore slam, there's not a lot to weigh. So we carried in that wahoo just to see what it would weigh. So I was excited. It didn't count, but it was exciting.
Wow.
Cool. Weren't you down there?
I was in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, okay.
All
right.
But I have been to Costa Rica before, but I never took advantage of the great fishing down there.
Oh, well, let me tell you, in February, there is a tournament. It's women-only billfish tournament, and there's two different parts to it. It's hook your own fish or the hand hook, and I think last year they had women from over 13 different countries.
Wow.
And it's the weekend of February 20th. Coming up next year in Capos, and Samantha Munson, she owns the she owns the only prop shop in Central America, and she's a woman and an angler, and she puts this on. So I'm excited. I want to go back and I want to fish that one.
So women fly in from all over the world to fish
that. Or boat in. There are a lot of women captains that, I mean, it's phenomenal because, I mean, I know about female anglers, but here in America, I'm not, I don't do a lot of deep sea fishing. I mean, I actually was the minnow girl. I like to panfish and bass fish, and to see women with these huge boats and fishing that way, and a crew of women is, I mean, I've got chills right now because I don't see that very
That
often,
would be
you know.
awesome.
Yeah.
Angie and I are both captains, and but nothing to that extent. But seeing women captains around here is even a rare thing.
That's true.
Wow, and to see them come in from all over the by boat for that tournament.
I was going to say, where do most of them come from? Just all different areas?
I'll have to ask her, but she was showing me on the map. She's got the map in her office of all the different countries, but there are a lot of women that come from the States, from Florida.
Okay.
And then from all over.
That's cool.
Saltwater and freshwater, talk about opposite. It's like a totally different sport, a totally different life, don't you think? I mean, for me, I feel like I'm a pretty good angler in freshwater, but you get me in saltwater, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
No, definitely. I told a friend of mine, you're going to have to help me out if I actually want to hook a billfish. I've caught several, but I haven't hooked them myself. It's a whole different feel. There's an art to it.
Yeah. Wow, it's amazing.
That's what intrigues me. You mentioned we're down here in Florida, and I'm always drawn to Florida just because there's so many different fishing opportunities down here. You've got the saltwater, you've got the lakes, you've got the Gulf, you've got rivers, all these different opportunities to fish. I might end up down here someday.
Well, to do that, you need to pay the bills. And to
Yeah,
pay the bills, you need to have a job.
Yes.
And, working in this industry, there's so many facets of it, and why don't you tell me a little bit about what your work is and how you got started in this piece of the industry?
Well, I work with Traditions Media, which is a public relations company that is primarily fishing based. We do have several hunting clients. Now we finally diversified because people kept asking, and we were like, no, we fish. But we finally were like, I think we could try that out, and hired the right team to come in and work with us. So everyone on our team are outdoor writers and editors, or we were. We've also had worked as brand managers, worked in marketing and communications. So it's a really good fit because what we always saw is that companies may hire advertising agencies or creative agencies, but nobody's really telling the story. They don't have people writing stories about the product. How do you use the product? What works best? And it just kind of fell into a job and then became a company, and we love it. I've got a marketing degree and a communications degree, and grew up fishing. Fished all my life, and I had a job where it was in tourism, and I dealt with all the different markets, all the different areas, and we needed somebody that could write for fishing or be able to edit, and then I would bring in writers to the state, and so it just kind of grew into that job, and I met the guys with Traditions Media and morphed into it. So I do everything from media buying to I don't do much writing anymore, unfortunately. But we do write about the products, run the strategy for social media and digital media and marketing and those sort of things.
That's one of the things when I do school presentations and stuff and talk to young kids is, they want a career in the fishing industry or something. I said, well, learn how to write,
Yes.
work on your communication skills, all those pieces of the pie that they don't really think are important come to be the most important piece of the pie in the end.
Right. I worked with a high school fishing team in my hometown, or I did. I've recently moved. And one of the young men kept coming up to me. I knew his sister through dancing with my daughter, and he kept saying, how do I do what you do? How do I do what you do? And I said, well, how do you write? What do you do? And his mom said, well, go do your English homework. You need to practice that. And I said, no, really, it's a good way to get in, take good photographs, but also know it, know fishing. Don't just fish, but learn everything you can about it. And I think that's what sets a lot of us apart, is that we actually read about it. We're watching TV, we're reading blogs, we're listening to podcasts, and, you've got to have that passion in order to want to work in it, I think.
Right, and definitely. And the opportunities now are more than ever, especially for women in the industry, the whole campaigns that are going now. And I think the companies are recognizing that the female consumer is such an important piece of the pie, and I've been in the business for a long time myself. I saw it when the advertisers were pin-up girls for the products, and we've come a long way, baby. There's still a long way to go, but, hats off to you. I read your stuff. I see what you do, and you guys do an excellent job over there at Traditions Media, and
Thank you.
Top notch. Yeah, really classy stuff.
Well, I still remember the first time I met you was at a writers conference, and you're coming up pitching ideas, telling me about different things that you were doing, and then I started reading what you were writing, and I don't know, fast forward how long it was, and then you're winning awards at the writers conferences.
I know, that was a shocker. I know. I'm not a technical writer. I'm just a storyteller. That's what I say. I have to experience it and then write the story, and that's what people like reading, though. They like reading, the story and how it goes, and not so much the technical aspects of things and as a how-to thing. But that's where I just wrote a story about my first deer hunting experience, and it's Barbie Gets a Buck. That's another one. But anyway, I don't want to leave out Lee Rose here. Talk about youth and young women having opportunities in the industry, and so. You were a high school fishing guru or something. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your high school fishing career and how that led to a college scholarship.
So I've always grown up in the fishing industry. My dad owns a local bait and tackle store in my hometown, Marietta, Georgia. And so I've been around the products, worked in the shop, with minnows and worms and all the crickets and the gross little stuff. But it was not till last year when my high school started a team, and I didn't do it the first year. I was kind of iffy about it. My brother did it, and I was just on the sidelines every Saturday watching him fish tournaments after tournaments. He started winning a lot of awards, and he started getting so into it. And then the next year I was like, I want to give it a shot. I'm not scared anymore. I'm going to give it a shot because girls can do it too. And so it wasn't until then when I, put my foot in it, and my brother and I decided to become partners, and my dad captained us. So it's kind of like a family deal, and we started succeeding together and building each other up, and it was just teamwork, family teamwork, really.
That's cool.
Yeah. Were there other girls on the high school team?
There was one other girl.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm seeing more and more younger females, which is awesome.
That's great. Yeah.
So how did that lead into a college opportunity?
Really, social media. The colleges, they look at your stuff and they see what you do in your tournament wins, and they'll come to you. And so it kind of just, I didn't know that I wanted to fish. And then I was kind of on the sidelines about it. And when I heard about all the opportunities, I was like, why not? I love the sport. I love the industry. I want to one day work in the industry. So why not keep it up?
So what college are you going to?
I'll be attending Carson Newman University.
Wow. Where's that at?
Jefferson City, Tennessee.
Wow.
Right outside of Knoxville.
A lot of good fishing there around there.
There's Cherokee, Douglas. Chick isn't too far. But I'm excited to learn the new lakes and meet new people.
Well, if someone would have told us 20 years ago there'd be high school fishing teams that lead to college scholarships, I'd have never believed it.
I'd have joined a high school fishing team.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's cool.
But I'm excited to.
It'll be my home state. Well, my now home state.
Yeah.
I'm from Minnesota originally, but I live in Nashville.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to live in Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's a good state.
It is a good state. Yeah.
So what kind of career do you look for in the future, possibly, in the industry?
Well, maybe Dena's. I like what she does, and it's cool that she's kind of like my mentor, and I get to see what she does. But I'd love to work in the media communications part of the fishing industry and, promote products and work with other companies and do that kind of thing.
Yeah, one of the things that one of our taglines for the show is if she can do it, I can do it. And having mentors like you, Dena, is like, that's when those light bulbs start going off. You see other people doing it and you think, wow, if she can do it, I can do it. I mean, and that was in my life, 30-some years ago when I first saw my first female police officers, what made me first think of that. And I thought, wow, if she could. And my dad was a cop. but I never thought I could do it because he was doing it. But when I saw a woman doing it, suddenly it was like, wow, she's doing it, I can do it. And fast forward all these years, and now a lot of this isn't anything. There's no barriers at all.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you want to do, but we need these female role models, and
To
we
step
need
up and-
people, the women supporting each other, and that. I said before, I've worked as a nurse and I've worked as a police officer, and I've changed more lives in my work in fishing than I have in either of those other two companies, other two careers, because there's something about the empowerment that comes with being an outdoors person and hunting and fishing, and that just kind of changes you. Do you feel that way, Dena?
I do, and I think a lot of times, they will say, "Well, how did you get to do this? And why can you?" And actually, my grandfather got me into it, and he took me aside and made me the minnow girl. I mean, that's literally what he called me, and he didn't grab my brother; he grabbed me, and just kind of went from there. And so then when I meet people like Lee Rose, and I'm like, hey, come on, because it is hard. There's a very hard barrier to entry, and I know people try to say now that it's not. There's more and more women working in the industry, but I don't think so. I mean, you can look around; they're not, and I don't know if it's a stigma or what. If they think we won't be interested in it, or I know that when I first started spending time in Minnesota and Wisconsin, I was shocked how many women I saw fishing, bank fishing, shore fishing. And I know fishing's popular in the South, but I don't see a lot of women doing it by themselves. Do you? No. So when
Not at all.
girls will see me fishing by myself, they're just walking up to
They're
me
like,
like,
"What?"
yeah, how do you do that?
You do it on your own?
Yeah, can I do that
Question
on
you.
my own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's like when you pull into a boat launch with your truck and your boat, they immediately, they used to want to offer to help. Oh, can I help you with that, honey? And they don't do that to me so much anymore. But
I got it.
Yeah, they do it to I see them do it to other women all the time, and it's like, I just fished the Governor's Open in Wisconsin, and the governor was in my boat, and when we showed up there the first day, there was other older media guys. You know how a lot of these media groups are old guys, and they said, in fact, I had a hat on that said Master Angler, and he goes, so you're a master angler, hey? And do you know how to use an open face reel? So then by the end of the weekend, we get first place in the bass category, and the governor's in our boat. So seeing that, is changing everyone's minds, and you, the future for you is just so bright. And even now, even being so young, you have the potential to be a great role model to so many other young girls. I think more so, I'm an old lady now, but having these young gals that are coming up and being the ones that are in the forefront and being successful, I think that's so important to have those people visible.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially in our region, because there just aren't, in the South, you just don't see that many women, whatever it is, because I grew up in Minnesota. I see all the women, my mom fish all the time. It's just not like that down here for whatever reason, so it's really cool to see young kids like you getting in the college fishing,
For
and
sure.
we'll be following what you're doing.
Thank you.
Social media has done a lot of stuff, but one of the things I think is a huge benefit that I've seen is it kind of creates a community that women can be a part of, even if they never have to show up in person. But I know I'm in women's fishing clubs, and there's a support system and kind of private Facebook groups or something, and they ask questions. They're not worried about feeling like they're asking a stupid question, and you can see the transformation in these gals from when they first get started until 2 years later when they own their own boat and they're taking it out by themselves.
They have the confidence.
Yeah, and I think getting from point A to that end point, I think that's what the goal really should be for some of these programs. And I think that the best way to do that is through the whole, if she can do it, I can do it, and sharing and mentoring and stuff. And that's why I think all women in the industry, no matter what, if you're writing the story, or if you're the new kid coming up, or if you're the podcasters, sending those messages out, I think now more than ever is a great time to be a part of that, because we're seeing the change before our eyes.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to be at this iCast, with just the technology changes, if nothing else. What have you seen technology-wise? Maybe you can share some of your insight, Dena, because you're kind of on the cutting edge of what's new.
I guess part of it would be clothing. And any of the manufacturers I've worked with that see me coming, I think they probably just roll their eyes, because they know I'm going to say, when are you going to make something that fits me? When are you going to make something I like? And nothing against pink. I do like pink, but does it always have to be pink? And that sort of thing. And I'm also a cyclist, and I've watched how long it took in cycling for us to get women-specific gear and women-specific clothing. And now I see that we're finally getting there slowly with fishing. We've always had activewear, so-called fishing shirts that might not work for what we want them to. But a lot of the companies now are coming out with more technical apparel, suits that actually fit us. I'll put in a plug for Gil, because I do work for them. But I'm excited to work with them because they started out in sailing. And so they already knew, they were already taking care of and protecting women on boats in rough conditions. And they've taken it into fishing. And then I meet the designers that are women and get to listen to them and talk about what they put into the designs and making sure that it fits us. Because you can have a rain suit that, say, you're going to be on a boat with, and you've got a hood and everything, but it's made to fit a man, and it doesn't matter what size we are as women, we're different, and we're proportionately different. So you're on a boat flying in a storm, and your hood comes over your head because, it may be a size small or a medium for a man, it doesn't fit us right. The vents aren't right, the cinches aren't right, it does matter. It's not just about us looking good or feeling good. There's safety involved a lot of times. And so I'm seeing more and more technology on the clothing for us. There's other cool technologies that aren't women specific that are just cool, like the different boats. We've got a lot of women that are kayak fishing now. And Hobie's just come out with a brand new drive that makes it a lot easier to fish and drive and control that boat. There's just they're thinking more out of the box. I think they're not just thinking about an angler; they're thinking about the type of angler and what who's going to be using the equipment and how we're going to be using it. Have you seen any? I haven't let her be on the floor much yet. I've had her working. I think I wore her out today, but we'll see what. Through different eyes, because I see it all the time,
right.
And I see the new products. And I deal with rods and lures and a lot of different equipment, but it's the clothing that gets me excited. Oh, and footwear. So there's shoes, there's boots, there's everything like that. But my biggest problem, I have a lot of back issues, and on a boat, standing all day, my back kills me. And so now we're finding shoes that I can wear, like I'm wearing them at a trade show, because my back doesn't hurt. And so they're actually, these are the Gill ones, but they're actually the supports that they're putting in them. They're not just, hey, wear some sandals on the boat because you're a girl.
Yeah.
It's,
right.
And they're cute. They've made good boots and shoes for men for boating and for fishing, but I hadn't seen a lot of that for women, and now I am.
Or not as many options.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. So, the whole kayak thing is really getting more people on the water just because they can get into initial boat at the initial price point. What a great way to get started.
Oh, yeah. I don't own a big boat, and I probably won't. And one of the reasons is because it's intimidating. And it's, kudos to you guys that are captains, because I know I can do it, but it's very overwhelming, to think about. But so I exclusively kayak fish and I shore fish. And I've kayak fished for years, and it's something that I can control. I can get in and out of the water myself. I can get it on a trailer, or I can put one up on my car, and I can fish anywhere, anytime I want. I don't have to worry about the truck, the trailer, the gas, the motor.
Right.
We talked about that today, didn't we? The insurance. Yeah.
Well, and I've seen people out on Lake Michigan, and there's a salmon tournament coming up. The kayak anglers are going to outfish some of these people in charter boats. Yeah, they're stealthy, they're quiet, they're not spooking the fish with those big motors, and they do surprisingly well. It's just astonishing to me to see the fish they come out with, and most of them are running Hobies, hands-free, trolling 3 rods out the sides. I don't even know how it seems overwhelming.
Well, and they're so stable. I mean, I think a lot of people used to be intimidated about kayak fishing because, especially getting out on those big lakes, these boats are so stable. I mean, I've even sight fished on the ocean standing up in waves and been okay, But did you get a chance to see the new Hobie?
I saw the display of that 360 Mirage Drive going around. It's like, I still haven't figured out how it works from inside the boat, but I know I saw it. They just had it kind of continually spinning around in there. It's like you can go around trees and humps and kind of weave your way in and through anything. It really is amazing.
Before, you would have to, at least for me, I'd have to remember, pull the drive up, or before you park on shore, watch out for, I rammed a cypress knee one time so hard, I was like about knocked screw loose. But with the new kick up, the fins go right over it and then come back. I'm not going to explain it very well, but I've got a video that it's just amazing. But coolest thing, when there's a 360 you turn around, but it looks like a parallel parking. I kept explaining it today like a spaceship. It's like, when we were doing the demo, you'd have people, we weren't even using the docking. Like, you're going to push me off? You don't have to push you off. Just flutter it a little bit and take off.
That's cool.
It's amazing. It took them 6 years to develop that, and
I'm sure it's the only one like that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Hobie's always been the leader. Angie here was out with Kevin. It went 4 miles out of where
La
was
Jolla.
Wow.
Yeah. Halibut fishing.
So have you been in the?
I have.
You didn't get out there yesterday?
No, unfortunately, we just got in this morning, so we missed out on that. But
We'll
I
put
wish
it on the list.
Wish we would have had that when we were out on the ocean. That would have been nice. Would have made it a little easier to get out from the beach,
Yeah.
But
they also, for me, like I mentioned, my back. If I don't want to pull a trailer, I have a passport, so it's a lot lighter, and I can get it right up on my Subaru and take off.
Well, they have so many additions to put on your racks. I've seen this one bar that comes out that just makes it. You can do it with one hand.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and things are changing so fast. Every year here, it's just like unbelievable. The technology changes and the improvements, and it's a great time to be. I feel sorry for the fish, is what I do.
I feel sorry for the people who haven't discovered how awesome fishing is yet.
Yeah. So, Lee Rose, do a lot of the girls that you went to school with, what do they think about your fishing career? Do they think you're crazy, or they do?
A lot of them, yes. They're like, you fish? Like, what do you do? What is that? Do you use bread or live bait? I'm like, oh no. So I usually have to explain the whole tournament aspect of fishing and how it's really competitive, and it just keeps building and growing. But they support me in it. They think it's awesome that I'm a girl that fishes tournaments.
So I think you'll convince any of your friends to give it a try?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I think I can do it, but find the right one.
Well, I tell you, it sure feels good here to be with all these strong women, and what role models for all of us and each other. And I just want to thank you guys. Now, I'm on this great Traditions Media mailing list. Now, does anyone get those, or is that just for media members?
Well, anybody can.
So that's a lot of good, like you talked about before, the stories that go along with the products and stuff. If somebody wants to, how do they get on that list?
pretty sure they can. I haven't looked lately. We always say we're too busy promoting everyone else and not ourselves. Pretty sure you can go to the website, which is www.traditions with an S, so traditionsmedia.com, and I'm pretty sure there's a sign up on there for them.
It's very informative, and the writers make it fun to read. You're not, and I know those guys too. A lot of them, Josh and some
Jim
of the other,
and Corey.
Jim. Yeah, I fished with those guys. Muskie fishing out of a Hobie, actually.
I wanted to do that so bad. I still haven't caught a muskie.
Me either.
Really?
Yeah.
See, we need to go do that.
We do.
Have you caught a muskie?
No, and I want
Hey,
to.
There you go.
There's a really good muskie fishery outside of Knoxville called Mountain Hill. So, yeah, it'd be awesome.
She has a new Angler Quest pontoon.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
Picking it up on Saturday, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's going to be
So-
sweet.
We troll out of pontoons over in Arkansas. And people laugh at us like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, it works in the north.
I know.
Work here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
striper.
I'm excited. It's actually a Quest pontoon.
Oh.
Same company, just a different model, I guess, different segment of what they do, but definitely equipped for fishing. But I want to take it out and do some tournament bass fishing with it. You don't see people doing that. Why not? It's got a 250 Yamaha on it. So, it's going to go plenty fast, and I'm going to be a lot more comfortable.
We put on when we were using. We took a Dragonfly Ray Marines, it's a little portable, and then the transducer dropped it down, and it's just a little portable set in there, and we just stick it on there, and then we've got electronics while we're
Yeah.
out there. So there's a lot of cool ways you can
Oh, yeah.
do that with your electronics.
That Ray Marine Dragonfly, a lot of the gals that I ice fish with put those on their ATVs for mapping
Yes.
in the winter, and then on their kayaks for sonar and down imaging in the summer. But now there's a whole new ice fishing pack to go with it, so you can use the sonar in
Right.
the winter. So that's a great product. I've recommended the Dragonfly to a lot of people, and it works well all year round.
It does. Of course, I put an Axiom that was way too big on my kayak, and we were talking today about how easy it is. Because I've worked with other electronics companies before, and I'm like, okay, now how do I do that? Get out the manual, and I was trying to explain to someone how easy the Axiom was, and I'm like, I literally in 10 minutes, I knew that you could watch Netflix on it. I know supposedly you can't catch fish that way, but I have a picture of my fish with Netflix, because I got yelled at from across the lake, you're supposed to be fishing, and I had it blaring. But I took a hotspot on the phone. I had a little speaker for music. I hooked, and I'm not an electronic person. I mean, I'm telling you, I can't even work the remote half the time. It gets too complicated. But I hooked up the hotspot on the phone. I Bluetoothed the speaker into the unit. No, I did not read anything, I swear. Figured out because it's all touchscreen, going through there. Got Netflix wired up. There's also Spotify, so you've got your music.
And your
Or-
podcast.
Yeah, and your
podcast.
podcast. And ended up in the weeds. So then Noel's like, what are you doing over there? You're supposed to be fishing. So I'm trying to get myself out of the weeds because I did not have the new 360. So I'm like getting paddle, trying to get out of there. And I'm like, I am fishing. So I flip it back over so I can see what I'm doing, and caught a fish. And so that's why I took the picture. I'm like, took the picture. I'm like, I can do it all. I can do it.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
Awesome.
Well, you guys, I'll look forward to maybe running into you again and seeing some of the stuff. I'm going to get over to that Gills booth and look at some of that clothes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Very
nice.
Introduce you to Lori.
Yeah.
We'll have her on the show.
Yeah, she sounds like
she's
an
a
interesting
great resource.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any former rugby player, someone worth talking to, I think.
Did you play rugby?
No, that was we didn't have, I would have, but it wasn't an option.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
didn't
I
have
was-
it where I live.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, it was the first year women could play any sports. It was that whole Title IX year back in the 70s. So, yeah, they didn't have rugby back in those days, but for us, unfortunately.
No.
But now, we're on the cutting edge of all things great for the future
It's
for
all
women.
different and exciting.
So we're going to put links to your social media account, if you don't mind. You'll get more followers on Instagram, and we'll hook up links over to Traditions, and people can get on that list if they want. And hey, thank you guys both for being on the show today, and thank you, Dena, so much for all you've done for the industry, and I appreciate having a connection with you, and you're a role model to many.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thanks, guys.